Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to the showdown between the Beastmen led by Morker the Shadowgave and the High Elves who are going to be led by a princess atop a mighty star dragon. So without further ado, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So up here in the skirmish area, we do have three groups of the Centaurs with throwing axes. Definitely very good against things like Star Dragons and even heavy calves, so like Dragon Princes and Silver Helms. These bad boys have 95 speed. I think that makes them faster than Reaver Archers. Let's actually go ahead and check because it looks like he has some. So the Reaver Archers do have 90. I think the Heralds of the Wind, which are the Regiment of Renown of the Reaver Archers, have like 105. But even though the Reaver Archers can out-skirmish these guys with better range, and of course they're more meant for dueling units like this, you can still outmaneuver them with the speed and get on those appropriate targets as long as you're screening with your infantry and some of your other tools. So we're going to be using the Centaurs with throwing axes to try and take down the dragons, the silver helms, and even against elite infantry like Swordmasters of Hoeth. It's going to be pretty effective as well. Good AP, like I said, and yeah, so hope they do the trick. On top of that, one group of Chaos Poison Warhounds who are going to be teamed up with regular Centaurs. So Centaurs with Grey Opens, if you're looking to fight the Silver Helms and Dragon Princes head on, are definitely a good choice. But if you're looking to use a group of Centaurs just to chase down Reavers and kind of counter skirmish, the regular Centaurs are a much better bet, simply because they have shields and better melee stats. So that's going to be it for our little skirmish squad here. We do have three groups of Bestigors as our primary infantry corps. They're going to be led by Morker the Shadowgave with his Pimp Cane, so we're going to see how he does. And we also have a pretty wide contingent. So we got some Gore Herds, and more Gore Herds out on the far side. So going to be trying to wrap around my opponent's army. And if there is a battle out on the flank with the Cav, at least I'll have some Gore Herds and Chaff out there to help out or absorb some of the punch. We also have a Chariot Goon Squad here. So we have a Brave Shaman with the Lore of Shadows. He's got Enfeebling Foe, Melkoth, and Pendulum. And he's going to be joined by a Razor Gore Chariot. So the Razor Gore Chariot's always pretty good against High Elves. Good against, let's say, White Lions, Spearmen that aren't braced, even against Swordmasters. They have really, really good AP, these Razor Gore Chariots, as you guys have seen in Dwarf matchups. So hopefully they'll do some good work. Granted, the Star Dragon could melt them if he gets a good engagement. And that's pretty much it for my army. For my opponent, he does have two Reaver Archers, a pretty good choice for counter skirmishing. So these bad boys can definitely, punch down some of my Centaurs if microed correctly. Granted, they're always going to be a little bit at risk when they're being chased by hounds and things like that. But what's cool about Reavers is they're pretty good melee. So he does have two of those. He's got one group of Shadow Warriors, which is pretty cool seeing these guys in action. Pretty good counter skirmish unit as well. 180 range, going to be able to sit in the pocket and potentially do some damage to my Centaurs. For his main line, pretty elite. He's got White Lions, two groups of Swordmasters of Hoeth. They're good, that are going to be anchored by a Loremaster of Hoeth. So he's got Spirit Leech and Earthblood. Pretty much the most solid kit there. Silver Helms with shields to deal with throwing axes and skirmishing, and another group over here. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Obviously, whenever you go with like a Star Dragon, it's really going to minimize the quality of your other units. So you couldn't really afford the Dragon Princes without going cheap. Granted, Dragon Princes are very susceptible to being kited by Centaurs with throwing axes, so there's some give and take there. Anyways, the skirmishing is underway. You can see the Reaver Archers getting some decent pot shots. So what I do is I rotate away from them, and I figure I'm going to overload this flank. I'm going to advance with Gore Herds and see if I can get that good engagement. Maybe I'll be able to catch these guys out or drag out some of his infantry and then axe them down. So the initial axes are going to be going into the Star Dragon, doing a little bit of damage. Nothing to write home about, but definitely not bad. Frontline engagement about to be underway. Bestigor Herds definitely can do some work against Swordmasters because they have a charge bonus of 35 compared to the 25 of those guys. But here we have a pretty good charge for my opponent coming in with the Silver Helms. They're not going to do a ton of damage against Bestigors because Silver Helms have really poor AP. It's pretty ridiculous how they all have like little hearts on their shields. It just seems so like not Warhammer to me. But anyways, they do charge into the Bestigor Herds, and like I said, not a bunch of damage. They do have a charge bonus of 60, but yeah, I mean, they did get the advantage there. And if they pull back before the Bestigors retaliate, it'll definitely be worth it. It looks like there's going to be some Witchcraft going down over here. I think I was summoning some Chaos Spawn, so they're going to be working on these guys here. I do also have the Gore Herds crashing it. The frontline engagement is underway. Bestigor Herds trading actually not bad. I mean, they put a bit of a dent in these Swordmasters, but yeah, Swordmasters are some of the most elite infantry in the game, so it's going to be a very, very scary engagement. On the far side, the Chariots are just running through the White Lines. Over here, we do have the Silver Helms who are fighting some of my Centaurs. I am pulling back my throwing axes, and I'm going to be re-engaging to get some decent shots, but this is why I have the Gore Herds out on the flank, so if things aren't, going pretty, you can at least throw in some infantry to help out in the cav fight here. So I do get a Pendulum down the main line against the Swordmasters. Got some pretty decent damage, but the Swordmasters are easily going to be able to break off the Bestigors. On top of that, there's a Star Dragon in the mix, so there's some spooky stuff going on. And my opponent gets a really good engagement with the Star Dragon, so he's able to chew down one of my Chariots. The other two models here are getting Spirit Leech down, some great focus for my opponent here, but the other one is running amok. The Brave Shaman with Shadows doing well. This one did rack up a whopping 5 kills, so definitely doing some good work. Over here, it's going a lot better. You can see that the Bestigors and the Chaos Spawn, as well as Morker, are able to overwhelm these White Lines. And the Chariot's also going to be coming in there. He's got his whip. He's having a good time. He's ready to party. yeah, we're just going to kind of clean them up and then collapse inward. Some of the Swordmasters, these ones actually really took a lot of damage from that, which I'm quite happy about. In the back, there's still some harass, so the Centaurs with the shields are just chasing down, the Shadow Warriors. A good play here. He's going to charge in his Reavers, who are quite good in melee, but I'm basically just trying to tie up all his missiles and allow my other Centaurs to do their job. So they're able to pick apart these Swordmasters of Hoth, which is nice. Just going to kind of rotate. They're a little bit blobbed up, so that's something you got to watch out for against Dragon Breath, but thankfully I did spread them out a little bit there. And yeah, the Chaos Spawn. So the Chaos Spawn from Orker, we're able to melt those guys, which is a really, really nice grab. On top of that, the Throwing Axes are going to be sitting, and they'll be attacking the Princess in just a moment. But the main fight is underway again, the Swordmasters of Hoth. I do use an Enfeebling Foe. You can see the Chaos Spawn in here fighting. We got Bestigors. So this is pretty good. Chaos Spawn, of course, of the Beastmen do have poison, so they're going to poison the Swordmasters. Enfeebling Foe plus having to fight Bestigors, which hit pretty hard. It's going to be a favorable advantage for my guys here. So they're going to be pushing through Heil forces. You can see they're definitely getting pretty beat up. In the back, he is able to clean up my Centaurs with his Reavers as expected, but I still have 76 Goreherds here. We're fighting, and it seems like they have pretty good mass. I mean, yes, some of them are being sent flying, but they're holding back these Reaver Archers and getting a couple kills in the process. So I definitely can't complain. So right here, he does park his Dragon here, looking to get a Star Dragon Breath. So it's going to be a good breath right down the formation. Looks like it does do a little bit of damage, but it actually kind of clipped his troops. It got kind of the tail end of the Chaos Spawn, but the Throwing Axe volley is just melting this Princess up here, just doing huge damage. So very, very happy with that. We do have the Chariot coming into the back, so the Chariot is just going to ramrod those guys, just going balls deep into the Swordmasters of Hoth. Definitely, raising the bacon. Spirit Leech is going to be cast by my opponent. A nice kind of a response there. In the back, the Goreherd's still just mucking up these Reavers, and the Throwing Axes are absolutely melting the Princess. So I don't know if my opponent was aware of like how much damage he truly was taking here. The Bestigors do charge back into the ground. They're going to be fighting the White Lions and the other High Elf troops, but at this point in the battle, the Frenzy is going to be gone from a lot of my characters. He does land the Dragon, which is a pretty good play, kind of getting him out of the pressure of the Throwing Axes. But I can keep up with him pretty easily. He has 1500 HP, he's shaken, and I know that if I break him, I can easily just follow him off the battlefield and take him out, which will be very nice. So the infantry fight has actually turned in my favor a little bit. Swordmasters getting taken out, the Bestigor herds and the Goreherds doing a very good job, and the Bestigors rallied from the distance, and in the time they were broken, I was able to force down a lot of his Swordmasters using the Throwing Axes from the Centaurs and whatnot. So from here, I figured, hey, I'm just going to chase this guy down, make sure he doesn't come back, just get all my Bestigors and Goreherds fighting. And Goreherds are not pushovers in melee. Those guys got some pretty decent stats for how cheap they are. So the Bestigors here, cleaning up Silverhelms and the Swordmaster of Loremaster of Hoth here. Some of the White Lines might be able to help, but the Dragon is being hunted by the Throwing Axes, and down goes the Princess. Quite a dramatic fall. Check that out. That's a nice little cinematic, isn't it? So the Dragon's going to tumble, the Princess is going to tumble as well, and the Centaurs with the Throwing Axes successful in their mission in hunting the big game. So for anyone who plays 40k, some big game hunter action going on there. We're able to get that guy, and now it's basically just kind of clean up. The rest of the Howl forces are going to break off, and that's going to be all she wrote for the noble lads. So well played, my opponent. I mean, it was a micro intense. It was very quick, but it was an even back and forth game. I think a couple of the points where we were able to capture the Princess there with the Centaurs was really big. And yeah, the Bestigors did well. They punched upwards pretty efficiently, I would say. I mean, 46, 32, 23 against 35 and 51 for the Swordmaster skills. On top of that, the Goreherds were able to really swarm around the edges, pressure the archers. The caster on the Chariot did really well, but my opponent had some solid focus and was able to really take out my Chariot with his Star Dragon. So I actually thought I might have been in some serious trouble there because I was kind of relying on the Chariot to really do a lot of the heavy lifting against the Swordmasters of Hoth. But yeah, it was a pretty scary game for sure. So very well played to my opponent, Unity Athos. As far as his build goes, I liked it. I mean, Swordmasters, it's kind of something I wouldn't expect it. A lot of times you're going to see Spearmen and they're going to be using like Dragon Princes. So it was a bit of an unorthodox build that almost caught me off guard for sure. So well played to my opponent. Again, Unity Athos. And this was a bit of a quick battle, guys. So we're going to be jumping over to another cast here. So yeah, we're gonna have some fun. So I'll see you guys in the next game. All right, guys, and we are back with the second game, which is going to be a showdown between the Tomb Kings, led by Arkin the Black, and I think he is going to be on his cackling chariot. I'm kind of on a bit of a chariot kick right now. I've been trying it with like the greenskins, using like the Orc board chariots, just pretty much every faction. Such a fun unit, even if it doesn't always like generate the most value. It just kind of gives you something to do. It's micro intensive, and it's so rewarding from like a cinematic perspective. But anyways, we're going to be facing off against the Beastmen. So the tables have turned, and my opponent has like a Beastmen Helm's Deep going on. So as far as my army goes, we'll just kind of let it roll here. Frontline of Nehekar Warriors, the Kepler Guard here. Nehekar Warriors do okay against like low tier Beastmen troops. One group of Ushapti Great Bows to take out big targets, like these Zygors, for example. One Tomb Scorpion in the front line. So if he does go with heavy Vestigors, Nehekar Warriors and Kepler Guard aren't going to cut it. So having Tomb Scorpion is very helpful. Two groups of Halberds on the flanks. And yeah, we got the Cackling Chariot squad. So we got Arkin the Black, two chariots, the Skeleton Chariots, which are pretty damn solid against Beastmen. I mean, they just run shop on the infantry. Beastmen can counter them with Centaur play, but for the most part, with good micro. And Arkin the Black, there's something really solid with Arkin. So what you do when you're about to do a chariot charge is you summon skeletons behind the unit you're going to charge, and that then basically makes it so, number one, they're going to be taking double trouble, but the reinforcements have to get through the skeletons to help against the chariot. So it's really good for screening and chariot charges. Two groups of skeleton horseman archers, a great skirmisher unit against centaurs. I mean, they're not the best, but it gives you some battlefield mobility. And 3 carrion. So yeah, for my opponent, he's got 2 of the Cygors here, just dropping some hot boulders. So he's basically doing like a summoner build, right? He has like chaff, he has Ungor herds in the front line, which will do okay. I mean, they're going to get wrecked by the chariots for sure, but they're going to hold a little bit against like low tier, you know, I guess the Hekar warriors will probably chop them up. But in the back, he's got elites, he's got Koroks, Man Rippers, Vestigor herds, 2 Minotaurs with Great Open. So if I went very construct heavy, these guys would be very punishing, but considering I have halberds and a lot of other tools, I should be okay. We'll find out. Brace Shaman with Wild, he does have the Brace Scream, or let's see, Devolve, Cygor Summon, as well as Mansell of Grok, I think is what it was. He's got Cygor. Did it? I just like moused over Morker there, and it said like Cygor. I was like, what the hell is this? So he's got Morker, the Shadow Gave, of course, for the Chaos Spawn, and that's pretty much it. So guys, let's see what happens. So Carrion flying overhead, just circling, and here's what I'm talking about. So I knew there was Minotaurs in Koroks Man Ripper, so he summoned skeletons in the back, and now I'm going to charge in and just swiggity swooty all over that booty. These Ungor herds are just going to get destroyed by the chariots. Doom King's Chariot's so good against lightly armored troops. Now watch what happens. He's going to react. He's going to be like, oh, I need to get there. So the Minotaurs are going to charge in, but it's just a big old nope right now. These skeleton warriors are like mucking them up. They're having trouble getting to the chariots. I'm able to pull out relatively unimpeded. That's what she said. Definitely some pretty good stuff here. So the Ungor herds here have 67 models. They just got absolutely destroyed here. And he summoned another Cygor. So, you know, he's got a lot of power here. You shot 2 Great Bows in the distance, are able to just sit, and I basically just am having them shoot these Cygors that aren't summoned, right? He has piled in the Koroks Man Rippers to try and do some work here. I also get a Fate of Yuna on his other infantry on the Vestigor herd, so these guys are going to be taking a lot of damage. I also pop the Libra Mortis as I charge in to make sure my chariots don't take too much on the return, but the Cygors are throwing some mean boulders on my chariots here. In the back, just using Carrion, so as soon as I break something, you know, there wasn't great targets for them, but if there's not good targets, Vestigors are broken, guess what? They're not, as long as they're not terror routed, you just charge them, they're going to be gone off the battlefield. And there's still 70 Vestigors right there, so that's huge value. Bounce car is pretty even, you know, but again, I haven't really committed my forces. I'm just playing a very heavy skirmish game. The Kepler Guard and Hekar warriors and halberds are all just kind of wading their way in, trying to maximize my efficiency with my missile fire. So, like I said, Carrion are chasing off the Vestigors as well as the Ungor herds. Very, very good use of those guys. And also my Carrion right here with 18 models are just going to be sitting and waiting for an opportunity to strike. So we charge into these Ungors, again with the chariots, relatively undefended. We're able to just melt them. He does get a Chaos Spawn summon, who's going to be charging into the skeleton chariots. And the summon Cygor is at about half health. You shop 2 Great Bows, are slowly working these guys down, and he is keeping these Minotaurs with Great Weapons in reserve. I think he was waiting for the Tomb Scorpion, but at this point, like, you know what, I'm just going to charge in my halberd, so I do have my Tomb Guard halberds, who will make short work of Minotaurs. I mean, it'll take a while to kill them, but they're easily going to have the advantage in that engagement. And right now, it's like slowly this war of attrition that I'm winning here, right? The Cygors are getting poked down by the Skeleton Horseman Archers. The Ushabti Great Bows are killing the other one. My Chariots are slowly whittling down his defenses. Over here, you can see he does have the Koroks Man Rippers, who have engaged with Hekar Warriors, obviously winning, but I'm doing Fate of Yuna timings. So I'm waiting, Fate of Yuna, and then I go in with the Chariots right now, and I do a massive Alpha Strike. So the Chariots are just going to roll dirty through. Ark in the Black just cackling, just straight up Palpatine laughing as he rides over these Koroks Man Rippers. And you'll see them go from like full combat effectiveness, relatively speaking, to being just basically neutered by that synergy of Chariot charging and the Fate of Yuna. So we're able to get those guys. The Tomb Guards with halberds over here just chewing up these Ungor herds and these low tier troops, and the Carrion just kind of sitting in the back having a good old time. We're able to break those guys down, quite happy about that. And the Tomb Guards with halberds are just, you know, the Minotaurs don't have any chaff to support them anymore. So basically it's like he either sends in the Minotaurs and fights, or, you know, the Cygors basically just get swamped. So he's trying to keep that value going. The Cygors with the point blank boulders are doing some decent damage. As far as kills, 49, 17, and 4, so some of them probably done some HP damage, but the Tomb Scorpion's back there. Libra Mortis has been dropped. Skeleton Horseman Archers, probably doing a ton of damage. That would be a really cool metric to actually see in Total War Warhammer, is like how much damage things. That would be really, really cool. In the back, the Tomb Scorpion just kind of riding dirty on the Cygors. You know, they're wavering. They're getting to the point where they're almost broken. The Chariots, I'm just riding through the back line, just looking for any targets I can. Ark in the Black, we're trying to just take out his Brace Shaman to get rid of his caster in case he has like another summon, but I don't think he does. The Cygor summon is very expensive, and although he does have the Jagged Dagger, so he might have had enough for another Cygor here in a moment. But the Beastmen forces are starting to collapse a little bit as their summon Cygors break. The big Cygor right here is, you know, kind of getting poked down by these Tomb Guards with halberds. They're just going to swarm it, and this thing is easily going to fall. Other 2 Cygors are being chased off. They're going to be running off the battlefield here, and like I said, just use the Carrion to hunt things down. The Carrion are going to chase these things, because if they did rally and you didn't chase them off, it would start throwing boulders, and it could potentially let your opponent get back into the game. So right here we have Morker the Shadow Gave, fully surrounded by Nehekar warriors and halberds. The Minotaurs with the great weapons obviously not able to stand. Now you can see the Cygors are just like falling in every which direction. This guy went down over here. These two are going to be running, and the Minotaurs and Chaos Spawn are, you know, they're not in a happy place right here, having to fight some of these Kepler Guard and other elite troops. So at that point, it's pretty much just cleaned up. We're just going to be chasing things down. The cackling Lord Arkan is going to be hunting the caster. We do have the not the harpies, the carrion chasing down the Cygors, and that's going to be all she wrote. So it was a bit of a fun game, just like the Cygor Helm's Deep. But man, those chariots. The main reason I wanted to show you guys was the chariot screening tactic. So whenever you're charging in, if they have reinforcements, you angle it so the chariots are going and the reinforcements are coming from behind, right? Because a lot of people do that. They defend their infantry with heavy cav to counter chariot play. You use the skeletons as a summon behind the chariots, and it's really going to muck things up and allow you to pull out, which is cool. Skeleton horsemen were great. Ushop 2 great bows were awesome, and yeah, it was just a fun battle. So alas, I don't know what my opponent's name was. I believe it's in a different language, so unfortunately I can't read it. But well played to my Beastmen opponent. It was always fun to see the Beastmen Helm's Deep. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that 2-for-1. So we'll see you guys next time. Take care.